first of all, let's talk about the different tools. And I was bring a few of them. One thing what I really like, it's the more traditional way of the Sakyan tattooing, the Thailand tattooing, the monk tattooing. They tattoo with a very long stick. Usually they're not like a super crazy fancy, but that's like some antiques I have. But as you see the front is like basically just sharpened down, and they like split it. And in the split, the ink get hold, and then they tattoo like this. This is called like the long stick tattooing. I have two nice tools. I somewhere have a full set, and they're pretty heavy, but the weight of the tool makes it pretty easy to step. Also, yeah, it's a different technique, not the technique we talk about today, but I know some friends, they tattoo like this and they really like it. Also, the Japanese tabori, the traditional Japanese tattoos, they also with a long stick, but usually they have like a wider needle camp, like a big magnum on the bottom, and they're more like shoveling. A lot I seen, they like really like shoveling it in, compared to the monks who like just like really elegant, like da 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 da, and they are mostly like praying on the skin, like da da la 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 la. Not like this, but you get the point. And there are different ways. A lot of the Borneo, Samoan stuff, they have like this kind of I don't have that here, but like the stick with the needle on the front, and then they use a different stick, and then they hammer on the stick, so you basically like hammer the needle in, and usually they use like bones or teeth or stuff like this. And you have so much varieties of tribes. You have African tribes, they tattoo with thorns from plants. There are tribes that use like teeth from fishes or spikes from fishes, and almost everything. But we are trying to like talk a little bit about the more modern way of handbook tattooing. So let's say we are speaking from hand stick tattooing, pook and stick. There are many words for it, and yeah, I will show you how to make a little tool, something simple like this. And you see everything what I need when I build something like this. This was somewhere when I was traveling. Is pretty much you get yourself a nice stick, and I like to use some sort of something nice, because honestly it's for me traditional tattooing, handbook tattooing, it's not so much about the pure aesthetic of the tattooing, because honestly a good tattoo artist can always make a better tattoo with the tattoo gun, faster, safer, cleaner and nicer, and it heals awesome. What not means that you not can make solid nice tattoos by hand. And I mean, if it's a rusty old nail, if it's a coral, if it's, you see like some feathers and an incense stick, if it's a old piece of junk, if it's a nice stick, you see I have here a little collection of like nice sticks I found somewhere. And I made once a small tattoo to a friend in Vietnam, and because Vietnam was such a trashy country that it was like our joke, so we was like finding an old fucked up lighter on the beach, and we used that as a holder. So there are not really rules. The last years, handbook tattoo got a little bit more popular in the wave of all the spiritualness, and people want to be all spiritual and hippie points, and so you know can buy a lot of tools like this, and a lot of special instruments holding the needles. But basically you always can take just like a Chinese chopstick, you mount a needle on it, you attach it to like a normal tattoo tip and you're like ready to set with having a like very comfortable hold. We come to that later on. Today everything will be about the stick, and we will choose, like, let's say we choose this little stick here, and we will make ourselves a nice hand poke tool out of it. Somewhere at home I had a box with like 20 of them in. A lot of time for myself. I kept one tool and I had it around. I had phases in my life, my legs was almost fully done by hand, and I tattooed it over like a few years every other day, really. Like, I had phases of like 2 months where I just was making like this morning ritual to myself that I have to tattoo like at least 10 minutes something on my leg. And so over the period of 2 years my legs was completely done by hand, and I kind of like the process. It's a different mentality than modern tattooing, I would say. It's completely different, and you should treat it different. You should treat it like this. No, compare it, don't compare it to something spiritual. Don't expect people have spiritual enlightenments just because they got something tattooed by hand. And you see this letter here, I remember, let go. This I tattooed with this in different spaces in Thailand, and this is a special one. This was, I made this one back piece to a friend in 74 minutes. And then the day after, we tattooed him 74 for the 74 minutes. And for this, I built this with just stuff I only found at home. And yeah, we took longer for making that small 74 letters than for the entire back piece. But it's not about this, you know. And this is the special tool we use for the Sing. The Sing only people receive when they have a full finished bodysuit here in Thailand. And so it's also a very special holy tool. And so I have a brighter collection of stuff like this everywhere around, and it's nice to keep stuff like this. And that's also a reason, usually when I was give someone like our real client for today a hand poke tattoo, a more traditional tattoo, and I usually like to spend a little effort in building a nice tool, and usually go somewhere on a nice place or somewhere outside or whatever, because we are not required to sit in a tattoo studio. I actually don't like to make something like this in a tattoo studio, and that's why I have something like this. You can put like everything in, close it, and you can bring it everywhere. And then you just use one side of this and you put just something in where you put your ink on, put the color in, and that's pretty much everything you need. That's like, and a few gloves maybe, but like you see, that's like everything you need. And I mean, a small cup of ink. For the ink, I have my own ink. I have my own Alex here. See, we make the tools, they are in here. And you're ready to set, so I can set this up at home, and then you see that is all what I actually need, and maybe some paper. Paper is not even that necessary when we are honest. And yeah, we are ready to set, to go out in the woods, to find a nice space then, because making the journey part of it, making the location part of it, I think that is the most beautiful tool about making hand poke tattoos, making more traditional tattoos, is to make the journey part of it. And so yeah, that's a few of the little bit different things, and I would say let's move on.